So this evening we will read from 15th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, text 8, and I will also go over 9, 10, and 11 in the same chapter. It's dealing with the same topic. So text 8 is on the board. You can repeat this after me. Shariram yadavapnoti yadschapi utkramatishvaraha grihit vaitani samyati vayurgandhan ivashayat Shariram yadavapnoti Yachchapi utkramatishvaraha Grihit vaitani samyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shariram yadavapnoti Yachchapi utkramatishvaraha Grihit vaitani samyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shariyam yadavapnoti Yachchapi utkramatishvaraha Grihit vaitani samyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shariram yadavapnoti Yachchapi utkramatishvaraha Grihit vaitani samyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shariram yadavapnoti Yachchapi utkramatishvaraha Grihit vaitani samyati Vayurgandhani vashayat Shariram Yat Avapnoti Yat Cha api Utkramati Ishvaraha Grihitva Etani Samyati Vayu Gandhan Iva Ashayat Next verse. Shrotram chaksushparshanam cha rasanam grihanam evacha adishtaya manushchayam vishayanupasevate. Next verse. Utkramantam stitam vapi punjanam vagunanvitam vimudanana pashanti jnana chakshushaha. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashanti atmani avishtitam yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashanti achetasaha. Ukam kroti bachalam pangam langayate grimyat kripataraham bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. So in this world, there are many so-called realists. What they mean by calling themselves realist is that they accept this material world as real, and any philosophy, teaching, process for going beyond this world they declare unreal. They declare the Hare Krishna movement to be a merely sentimental movement, just some simple-minded emotionalists who get all enthusiastic about nothing. But here in these 4 verses that we've just read, we can see clearly that this Krishna consciousness process, it is not at all sentimental. Sentimental means that understanding which doesn't go beyond the perceptions of the senses and mind. So it's actually these fools who are so-called realists, who declare this material world is the only real thing, only reality. They are the sentimentalists. Krishna says, Vimuda nanupashyanti. They are very foolish, Vimuda. Because nanupashyanti, they cannot see how the living entity acquires this body. In fact, these so-called realists, if they are asked from where do their senses come from, they will reply in a most sentimental way. It's like when there's a newborn child and the friends and relatives gather around and they look at the child and they will say, oh, just see, he has his mother's eyes, he has his father's nose. This is as far as they can understand where the senses have come from. Therefore, Vimuda nanupashyanti, they are foolish. They cannot see beyond the existence of this present body. Here Krishna is explaining that these senses that we presently have, they are outgrowths of our contaminated consciousness of the previous lifetime. And the process is going on. It did not stop. We are continuing in this lifetime to contaminate our consciousness. And there will be in the next lifetime another outgrowth as a result of that. Sri Krishna explains this process by way of a very nice analogy of the wind. The wind is originally pure. And the wind originally has no smell. But the wind associates itself with different kinds of odors which arise from the earth. So the wind may blow over a field of roses, or it may blow over a field of stool. In either case, the odor that it picks up is a contamination. You may say one is very nice, the smell of roses is very sweet, but that's not the natural state of the wind. So in a similar way, our consciousness is originally pure. Pure means it is untouched, it is unaffected by the modes of material nature. There are three modes of nature. So, in these three modes, two are extremes, and one is in the middle. The extremes are sattva and tamas, goodness and ignorance. So, goodness is the rose smell, ignorance is the stool smell, and passion is a mixture. Just like in the toilet room, they sometimes hang some perfume, rose smell perfume. So, but in whatever way our consciousness associates with material nature, whether in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance, it is a contamination of our original state. And we become contaminated, particularly through association with vimuda nanopashyanti, sentimental fools, who themselves are under the influence of the modes of nature. This point of napashyati, one who cannot see, that is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam in a very important verse. Dehapatya kalatradeshut atma sainyeshu satsuti tesham pramata nidhanam pashyati na pashyati. So, a person who is not self-realized, who is associating with this material nature, he is described as one who pashyati na pashyati. He can see, but yet he does not see. Now what does that mean? He can see, but he cannot see. So, Dehapatya Kalatradeshu. He's associating with family and friends, people he thinks are Atma Sanyeshu Vasatsavapi, people he thinks who can help him get over all the problems of life. He thinks by building up strong friendships with people in whose association he feels he can enjoy this world. He thinks that these friendships will save him. This is especially apparent in the association between male and female. A man and woman make a pact. They combine together with the very intention of conquering over all obstacles to their sense gratification. Now what happens by this association? Tesham pramata. Tesham pramata nidanam. They actually become mad. They're not conquering over anything. By that very combination, they are conquered. But they think, no, now we have become very strong. Now we have become invincible. Our love cannot be defeated. We will march together out into the world and we will conquer it. The world will fall at our feet. And we will enjoy like king and queen. And we will have a big happy family. And they will inherit the world that we have conquered. Such are the dreams of Vimudha, very foolish people. But the fact is, Dehapatya Kalatradeshu, by this association, they have become immediately defeated by the bodily concept of life. Once Srila Prabhupada in the early 70s was speaking with some Indians in Los Angeles, Indian people who had migrated to the United States. Yeah. And he was preaching to them the importance of Krishna consciousness movement, that it is especially meant, Lord Chaitanya has especially said that persons born in India should carry the message of Krishna consciousness to the rest of the world. And Prabhupada was saying, but to do this, we cannot become attracted by these sinful habits of the Western world. Rather, we must strictly follow the four regulative principles. One must refrain from meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, in order to successfully execute the mission of the human life and to spread Krishna consciousness? So, one Indian man was raising objection. He was saying, but Swamiji, we see practically that the powerful societies in the world, they are engaging in all these 4 forbidden activities. And Srila Prabhupada immediately asked, who is powerful? And he was saying, America, Russia, they are powerful. So, and these countries, their principle, their 4 regulative principles are that you must eat meat, you must have illicit sex, you must gamble, you must become intoxicated. And they have become so powerful. So the point of his question was, who is going to listen to you, Swamiji, when they see this is the real way to power? And Srila Prabhupada, his reply was, in this material world, nobody is powerful. Everybody is already defeated. Huh? And Prabhupada gave so many nice examples how you can look at history. You see, history is littered with the broken stones, broken monuments of so many great civilizations of the past. Where are they now? Where is Egypt? Where is Greece, ancient Greece? Where is Rome? So many Napoleons and Hitlers have danced on the stage of history for a short time. Where are they now? They're just bones and dust. So what is this power in this material world? This is illusion, that's all. As soon as one identifies with the material body and thinks, I am this is me, he is defeated, he is powerless. He's like an animal that's bound up hand and foot, bound up by the neck, ready to be slaughtered at any moment. So this pashyanapi na pashyati means that it is very apparent when you, as Prabhupada was pointing out, you look at history, it is very apparent that everybody has died. All these civilizations have been destroyed. You see? Or in this example of man and woman coming together and feeling very powerful in their lusty relationship. As in the past, so many men and women came together so many King Louis and Mary Antoinettes came together. It's because you're here that I think that. No, it's okay. Just translate. And they're all dead. But with each new generation, there are new boys and girls coming together thinking, oh, no. We are the divine couple. But they will also be slaughtered, just like helpless animals. Srila Prabhupada gave the example of insects which live their whole life in one night. You can see them. They have their nightclub, any lamp, any street lamp, and they're buzzing around. Zzz. So they're living out their whole life around that lamp in one night. The next morning you look on the ground, big piles of dead insects. Sweep them into the gutter. So human life is like that, actually, from point of view of higher consciousness. Just like from our consciousness, our vantage point of consciousness, we're looking at the insects and saying, oh, such unfortunate creatures. But there are higher beings looking at us and thinking the same thing. Poor fools. Taking this silly life of theirs so seriously. So Pashyanapi, anyone can see that, but not Pushyati, but still they don't see it. Anyone can see. Go look at any graveyard. I'm sure Sofia has many, many graveyard cemeteries. You see so many stones, 1888 till 1923. See, 1946 till 1974. 1953 till 1991. You see, everybody's dying. Oh, you don't even have to go to the cemetery. In your city, you have all these little posters everywhere. Somebody has died in this house. Somebody has died here. Every house, you see 3-4 posters. So there it is. Anyone can see it, but we don't see it. Nobody is thinking, I may die at any moment. Instead, each individual person is thinking, I will live forever. Maybe everybody else will die, but I'm going to live forever. And we make our friendships, we make association with others on this basis, that here is someone who helps me forget about death. So he should be my friend. He helps me forget about the miseries of life. In his company, I can think everything is all right. So this is the principle, misery loves company. This is a saying in English. Misery loves company. Somebody may be suffering, but if he can get some good friends around him, then he forgets. He says, everything's all right. Pass the vodka. Let's drink. Very nice. Sing a song. There's a story of one king. He had a pleasure garden with a nice pool, clear crystal pool for swimming. So one day he went there with his favorite queen to play in the water with her. So they, on the bank, on the shore, they left all their nice royal outfit. You see, this fancy silk clothes, the crowns, and their jewels, their jeweled ornaments. They left them all on the side of the pool. And, of course, there were guards all around, and there were maidservants specifically appointed to watch the clothes. But the maidservant who was watching the queen's clothes, she became a little sleepy. So there were trees next to the pond, and in the trees were monkeys. And so one female monkey, she was watching. She saw the maidservant had fallen asleep, so she jumped down and took the queen's valuable pearl necklace and jumped back into the tree. So when the maidservant came out of her brief nap and saw the pearl necklace was gone, she became immediately alarmed. She assumed some thief had stolen it. So she began to scream, "Thief! Thief! A thief has stolen the necklace." So the king from the water, he shouted, "Arrest that thief!" So the guards were they were running through the park with their swords out, looking for a thief. And they came to the gateway of the park. And on the street just outside, there was one man, innocent man, he was just standing there. And the guards came running out. The man saw them, the guards with their weapons drawn. He became afraid. So he started to run. The guard said, "Catch the thief!" And they caught him. So he was brought back before the king. And the king demanded, "Where's the pearl necklace?" And the poor man, he was so frightened. He thought, if I deny that I took the necklace, the king and his guards are so angry, they may kill me on the spot. So I better tell them a story so that my life will be spared a little longer. So he said, "I gave the necklace to the goldsmith, the town goldsmith." So the goldsmith was arrested, and he was searched. No necklace was found. And he thought the same thing, that I better say I gave it to someone else, otherwise I don't know what will happen. So then he thought cleverly, I'll say I gave it to a Brahmin, because the Brahmin, he will speak the truth and they will have to believe him, and then we will all be free. So he said, I gave the necklace to this great Brahmin. But it so happened that this Brahmin was a follower of Karmakanda philosophy. So in Karmakanda philosophy, whatever happens, that's your karma, you have to accept it. So when the guards came and arrested him, he thought, well, why should I resist? So when they said, where's the necklace? He thought, well, they're going to throw me in jail anyway. So that's my karma. But I might as well pass the time in jail nicely. So I will say I gave it to this musician, and he will also be put in jail, and he will play music, and I will be entertained. So he said, I gave it to this musician. So then, when the musician was arrested, he thought that, well, they're not going to believe what I say, so I might as well say I gave it to such and such beautiful dancing girl, because they will put her in jail and I will play music and she will dance. So then they were all thrown in the jail. And only the dancing girl, because she was a very passionate sort of woman, so she was very outraged that she was arrested. And she was saying, this is nonsense. I never got any jeweled necklace. What are you talking about? So the king studied all this, and he could realize that these people have all been arrested for no reason at all. They have nothing to do with with the disappearance of my queen's pearl necklace. So then he could understand the necklace must have been taken by a monkey, so the trees were searched and the monkey was found. Necklace was returned. But this is an illustration of material association. You see? Everybody's in the jail of the material world, and nobody has any idea how to get out. Simply they're trying to implicate someone else to make their stay in this material world a little nicer, that's all. And this is what we mean by sentimentalism, sentimental association. Mm-hmm. And there are even religions. Prabhupada is speaking of so-called yogis in the last verse we read, text 11 in the purport. So-called yogis, so-called religionists, who are nothing more than sentimentalists. Mm-hmm. It's like when I was just coming from Bucharest in Romania. So someone showed me a cassette tape for yoga meditation. You should play this tape when you meditate, and you will have visions. So the tape, just by looking at it, didn't look very transcendental. There was a naked woman on the cover in a yoga posture. And we played about 15 seconds of the tape just to hear. And there was some very sensuous music, computerized music. And then this woman's voice came on talking about the chakras. So, this is all condemned, actually, by the Bhagavad Gita, by Srimad Bhagavat philosophy. Bhagavat philosophy, this Vedic philosophy of the science of God, condemns all this sentimental nonsense. Bhagavat says, Guru nasa syad. One should not become a guru. Na jana nasa syad. One should not become a respectable superior. Pita nasa syad. One should not become father. Na janani nasa syad. One should not become a mother. Daivim na tat syad. One should not become a worshipable person, great leader. Na patis na sasyat. One should not become a husband unless one can deliver one's subjects, those who are following him in that position, unless one can deliver them from birth and death. Na mochayadyat samapetya mrityum. Unless a person in these positions is able to give liberation from birth and death to those under him, he should not assume any of these positions. Because then it is simply sentimental. Then these relationships are very significant. If there is guru-disciple relationship, but there's no transmission of spiritual knowledge, then what is it? It is simply sentimental. If even there is mother-father relationship with child, and there's no transmission of spiritual knowledge, that also is condemned. It is simply sentimental, useless, like the relationship between mother, father, dog, and little puppy. That's also useless. So the teacher, the authority, the superior must give the philosophy, the Bhagavat philosophy, unsentimental philosophy as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, and must also give the example. A verse was quoted in purport that is it here in this section? Anyway, elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse quoted by Srila Prabhupada, which says, "Manakeva manushyanam karnam bhanda mokshayo," that it is by the mind of the human being that he attains either bondage or liberation, by his mental state. So when the mind is attached to the objects of the senses, then that human being is bound. That is the very meaning of the word sentimental. When the mind, the mental means mind, when it is bound up by the senses, then he is in karma bandhana. He is in bondage. He is in maya. And when the mind is free, is detached from sense objects, then that human being is liberated. Then he's in the state of moksha. So one has to learn the how and the why of detaching the mind from sense objects. The how, you have to learn the how and the why. In other words, all right, I'll go on and explain it. In other words, the why means the philosophy. One has to receive the philosophy, and the how is the practice, the achar. Then one can do it. You see? Unless we learn both, the how and the why, we cannot do it. We cannot become detached. We cannot detach our minds from the objects of the senses. Mm-hmm. In India, sometimes it is seen that disciples of a guru will come to the guru with some plea that Guruji, for my well-being, I must engage in some sense gratification. You have given me initiation, and I had to vow not to eat fish. But my doctor says that if I don't eat fish, I will be very sick. So Guruji, you please give me allowance to eat fish. So, now if the relationship between guru and disciple is only sentimental, it is based on something material. In other words, guru is depending upon contributions of a disciple for his livelihood, for his sense gratification. And then he will say, yes, you may eat fish, you have my full blessings. But that is not guru. Guru is there to explain exactly why, under no circumstances, should you ever eat fish or meat or engage in illicit sex or take intoxication. Under no circumstances should one do this. Why? Because of the reason Krishna gives here in these verses, that it adulterates, it contaminates our consciousness. And Guru shows by his own example. When that disciple comes and says, Guruji, I must eat fish for my health. Guruji says, I don't eat fish and I am healthy. See, that must be his answer. It's like once some disciple, an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada, had gone away from ISKCON activities and then met Prabhupada later, and his hair, he had long hair and beard. And so Prabhupada asked him, why are you keeping these long hairs? And his reply was, well, you know, in these northern countries it gets very cold. So therefore I'm keeping long hair to help stay warm. And then Prabhupada smiled. Some of his disciples were there with freshly shaven head. Prabhupada smiled and turned to them and said, oh, your heads are cold? So, unless one is understanding the philosophy and keeping the achar, keeping the practice, then vimuda nanupashyanti, then he remains a fool and he cannot understand how we have gotten this body that we have now, by what process we've gotten it, and he cannot understand how to get free of this material engagement altogether. He may be externally following some sort of process for spiritual elevation, but it will be to no effect. Because to attain the effect of liberation from this world, that is a very exact science. That is given by Krishna very clearly in this Bhagavad Gita. So simply some sentimental, external ritualistic behavior, that will not do. That is not scientific. Just like we have gotten an apartment in Bucharest. So I was there just yesterday. And in that neighborhood, there's one church. So I was watching while chanting japa. People come out of their apartments and they walk in front of the church. And because those people are quite religious, then practically everybody, when they pass in front of the church, they're going like this. So everyone, they, and it was interesting to see, including the Maya Devis, the young girls, all made up, with hair up, and it always amazes me how in such a poor country there's always money for this. So they look like Paris fashion models, and they're coming out to meet their boyfriends or whatever. But when they walk in front of the church, so this looks religious. It looks like some sort of pious activity. But as far as attaining liberation from the material world, it's completely useless. Because Krishna says, getting free of material existence means to free the senses, the mind, and the intellect from lust. Indriyani manobudhir asyam dishtana muchyate etayar vimohyat yesha jnanamavritam dehinam. Krishna says that the senses, the mind, and the intellect are the sitting places of this lust. And it is this lust which bewilders the living entity. Etir vimohyat yesha. He becomes bewildered by this lust, and his spiritual knowledge, jnanam avritam dehinam, is completely covered, and thus he falls down into the bodily concept. So, to get free of this covering of ignorance, the senses and mind and intellect must be purified. And doing this is not going to purify senses, mind, and intellect, especially not if at the same time you're dressed up to make every boy on the street fall into Maya. You see. And similarly, sitting in some yoga posture and listening to the tape of the Maya Devi talking about opening the chakras, that also is not going to do anything. This is just another kind of sense gratification. So, there is a detailed scientific process of purifying senses, mind, and intellect by engaging them in spiritual subject matter. And by Lord Chaitanya's grace, that process has become very simple for this age. We can engage our senses, our mind, our intellect in spiritual subject matter simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by dancing, by feasting on Krishna Prasadam, and by this philosophy, by studying Bhagavad Gita, and also by preaching and distributing Bhagavad Gita to others. This is the process. Chanting, dancing, feasting, philosophy. And these are things that everybody likes. Everybody likes to sing and dance. They go to the nightclub. They spend a lot of money to be able to dance and sing in the nightclub. Here, we do it for free. And here, the singing and dancing is liberating. It brings one real joy. And feasting, again, they're going to the restaurants, spending pocketfuls of money to eat nasty rubbish. But here in Hare Krishna temple, for free, we're giving out Krishna Prasadam. Krishna Prasadam means, you know what it really means? It means that which is cooked by Srimati Radharani for Sri Krishna. Radharani is the best cook in all existence. Actually, for Krishna, she is the only cook. And when you look in the temple kitchen, Those devotees who are cooking, they're just assisting Radharani. She's cooking and they're helping. That is to say, if they're actually cooking something that's offerable. If they're actually in proper consciousness. But when one is actually surrendered to the divine energy, Daivi Prakriti. Srila Prabhupada said this Daivi Prakriti, like Krishna says, Mahatmanas tu mamparta, Daivim Prakriti Masha. Devotee is surrendered to the divine energy. That Daivi Prakriti is Srimati Radharani personally. So, the devotee is surrendered to Radharani. He's assisting her. She's cooking. She's offering to Krishna. And Krishna is taking only because she's giving. And then Krishna is returning it to Radharani and saying, distribute it to all your friends and helpers. And then Radharani is distributing it. That is Krishna Prasadam, the most fantastic nectar in all of existence. And is being served here for free. But the rascals, they'd rather go to the Chinese restaurant and eat 100-year-old mushrooms. And philosophy, you see, this philosophy, it is so wonderful because it frees the heart. Prabhupada said, our heart is being pinched. Pinched. You know, pinch? Pinch like when you take skin like this and press it very hard. Pinching. So our heart is being pinched by rajas and tamas, by passion and ignorance. And this Krishna conscious philosophy, it frees our heart from that pinching process. Mm-hmm. Whatever is going on in the material world, whatever behavior you see, is simply the result of pinching of the heart. You see, just like I mentioned Maya Devi's dressing up to attract boys. Why are they doing that? Because their heart is being pinched. Therefore they dress up just because the heart is being pinched in so many ways. And the boys are being attracted to them also because of the same thing. They look and and they're looking, chasing them. And people are eating and drinking and smoking, all nonsense because of this pinching. So hearing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, it stops this pinching. And we realize who we are, who we actually are, when this pinching stops. I'm not a Maya Devi. I'm not a lusty boy. I'm not a mushroom eater. I'm not a beer drinker. I'm not a whatever. I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. This is the blissful position. So this Krishna conscious philosophy is in this way dispelling all ignorance, all confusion as to the purpose of existence. And on the other side, mundane philosophy, material philosophy, it's just manufacturing more and more questions. The whys, the list of whys are just getting longer and longer and longer. So, people are attracted to hear some esoteric philosophy, to, as Prabhupada said, smoke ganja, smoke marijuana, and talk all nonsense ideas. People are attracted to this, but they come to no conclusion, no solution. But here, this Bhagavad Gita as it is sweeping the field, you see, just sweeping out all this confusion, all this darkness, all these cobwebs, spider webs. Sweeping it all clean. Now you can see yourself, who you actually are, and your eternal relationship with Krishna. So by this simple process, chanting, dancing, feasting, philosophy, the senses, the mind, intellect become purified of all lust. And as we are reading here, by association, our consciousness associating with something, we develop our next body. So if our consciousness associates with Krishna through this chanting, dancing, feasting, philosophy, then we develop spiritual senses, a spiritual body. Okay. It's after 9:00, so I don't want to keep you up so late. We will stop here. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.